So I'm hoping that you all noticed through those comments that I am a Nevadan. So this is home. So although I work for the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, I am lucky enough to be able to remain here in Las Vegas and support our community, so which is indeed my home and has been for 20 years. So thank you, Denise, for that introduction. Good morning. I'm really excited and pleased to be here today. Denise called and asked, and you know when Denise calls and asks, you always say yes. And there are many heads in here saying yes. So she asked me to talk about an initiative that the Children's Advocacy Alliance is leading to support and scale up high-quality interventions that will enhance academic achievement of children in Southern Nevada. I believe this is something our community really needs based on the F we received in school readiness and funding. And I am a banker, so I'm going to talk about financing, as Denise said. So I'm going to see if I can multitask as well as Diana did in terms of moving this as well as speaking and changing my pages. So where did we begin? In 2013, CAA, Nevada Succeeds, and the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco came together to explore the feasibility of alternative financing options for early childhood education. We hosted an informational session in January 2014 that truly jump-started the work. This alternative financing option is called Pay for Success, and I'll talk briefly about that this morning. Pay for Success is a mechanism whereby private investors fund social or environmental interventions up front that save the government money, either because they prevent more expensive future problems, such as early childhood programs that reduce instances of learning disabilities, or they use a more cost-effective approach, such as energy-efficient housing retrofits. Some of the savings generated by a better program are used to repay investors at the end of the established program period. But investors are only repaid if the intervention is successful, thus the name Pay for Success. So Pay for Success can look has a lot of components and can look a variety of ways. So it involves a performance-based contract. Government commits funding for successful outcomes, such as an increase in high school graduation rates. The one important piece of this is that there is an independent auditor that evaluates the program effectiveness. And without that, you can't have a successful program. And again, government only pays for success. One of the other important components of this is the service provider. Private investors fund service provider operating costs in exchange for a share of the success payments that come at the end. Investors bear the risk that success won't be achieved and that the government payment won't be triggered. So we need investors, and it's an important part of the whole program. There are a number of existing Pay for Success models. Many of you may be familiar with the low-income housing tax credit. That's a tax incentive to investors for the development of affordable housing. Prize-based philanthropy, my colleague uses the example of someone, if you can find a way to get to the moon, then we'll pay you $1 million, or whatever excuse it is, or an example of a prize that will be paid once you achieve that measurable outcome. And also, of course, social impact bonds is the example that we're going to talk about today. Pay for Success models or outcomes-based contracting with government has been around for a long time, just not in the social sector. This is a very busy slide. So social impact bonds require many partners. This flow chart shows the various roles of the many stakeholders. Intermediaries act as a coordinator and project manager, I call it the quarterback, driving the design, structure, and negotiation of the contract among government, service provider, and investors. Investors provide the upfront capital necessary to bring the intervention to scale, often with the dual objectives of achieving financial and social returns. Hence, investor. They do want a return on their money, but it's all around social good. Service providers deliver program services to the target population of individuals to achieve agreed-upon outcomes. Populations in need is who we're delivering the services to. In our case, we're looking at children. Validators provide independent substantiation that outcomes were measured according to the agreed-upon evaluation methodology. The payer, typically a government agency, but can be a foundation or a corporation, provides the outcome-based payments. Here's an example of a social impact bond in South Carolina. South Carolina ranks 45th in overall child well-being. Economic well-being, they have significant number of children living in poverty, children with high housing cost burdens, low birth weight babies, child and teen deaths, children without health insurance, which we also have as an issue here, children not attending preschool, children in single-parent families. Many of these things we can all relate to because we have some of those similar issues here in Nevada. So the intervention that they chose to use in South Carolina is the Nurse Family Partnership Program. This program targets low-income mothers' first pregnancy with home visitation by registered nurses from pregnancy through age 2. Home visiting programs have been shown to improve a number of child outcomes in a number of areas. Fewer premature births, reduced child malnutrition, improved maternal self-sufficiency, and children are better prepared for kindergarten. So in this example, a successful childhood outcome saves government $19,120 over the first 18 years of life. And so these are the budget areas, because we talked about how the savings can save through government. So those are some of the areas that, that you can see the cost savings. Here's a simple example of the cost benefit of a social impact bond. You can see the $52,600 is what it would cost the government to provide this intervention for 2,750 mothers. So the cost of the funding and the savings actually comes out at, minus the return on the investors at 10%, you can save the taxpayers $14.3 million. That's a significant savings for that community. Well, and of course, as with any program, there are benefits and pitfalls. Some of the benefits include what we call the wrong pocket program, which means that one agency funds the program, but another agency benefits from the cost savings. Pay for Success programs promote evidence-based policy by paying for only what works, and it builds on existing successful models such as the low-income housing tax credit program. The pitfalls include the risk of fudging the data to show outcomes. Also, it's hard to extract savings from public budgets. The examples here is that the intervention may reduce prison overcrowding, but you still need prisons. You can't eliminate prisons. The big question is government ready for this? We hope that in time, through education and sharing of best practices around the country, we'll be ready to take this on here in Nevada. Together, we can help our children succeed, and each and every one of you in the room will have a role in this. So, thank you very much.